Hi guys, it's me, Kathy. Mrs. Handy, are you? I hope everybody's doing okay and you're having a good summer. I hope everybody gets a little time off to take a breath and everything. Um, anyway, I have a new voice for JFK or maybe Junior or maybe both. I know it's one of them. Um, it's bite-sized audio classics. It's BITESIZED because I know I pronounce things weird. Um, you just have to listen to it. You just listen to, um, first, listen to a little bit of Greg Wagland on Sherlock Holmes audiobooks. He's on Magpie Audio or Magpie. It's Magpie anyway. I can't remember the audio. And so listen to him and then go right into bite-sized audio classics. And it's just a little change in accent, you know. It's definitely one of them or both. Maybe they take turns. I don't know. They can sound like whoever they want. So you're you're gonna love it. And I don't have all the decoding for his name. I mean, I should right now because I'm telling you about him. But yeah, it all means important stuff. And his name is Simon Stanhope. And and I'm sorry about the fuzziness of the recording because I'm doing this all in one day. And Mr. Handy tried to help me with the audio, and it's the same microphone, like I said before. It's the same microphone. It's on the right settings, and we even tried different settings. So I'm really sorry. We'll hopefully figure it out. And anyway, so back to the happy. Um, anyway, think about bite-sized bite, okay? Like eating DNA in the Garden of Eden like you're not supposed to. That's what it's referring to. Um, anyway, so he read this story of supposedly by a man by A.J. Allen. That was his pen name, which pen is 30, and that's Joe, like our Joseph Patrick Kennedy Jr., our junior. And he tells a little brief history of the gentleman A.J. Allen. I think he does that for each one that he reads. Um, so he was a surveyor. That's important. And think about what George Washington. He was a surveyor. Then he was a magician. Okay, and we're always thinking of John. John is a magician. Um, he worked for BBC Radio and he read his stories. He was in naval intelligence, so he was in all these things. And that's the one I would recommend you to read, to listen to. That one. It's very, it's got a touch of humor, but when you decode it and you listen to it for double meanings, it will mean a lot more than this light-hearted little story, you know. And anyway, so that's what's going on. And let's see. I'll give you a couple of highlights. Let's see. I got way too much information. He said at 4:07. So in the beginning, the first few minutes, he gives you the background of this gentleman who supposedly wrote the story, but I think they wrote the story. 4:07. He has it in the credits too. The story begins. Well, what's reverse of 47? 74, which is Jesus. Okay, so we have that. And he mentioned kind of near the beginning, at the beginning, he said, to get it off my chest. He wants to say something and get it off his chest. Like what will happen with President Kennedy and all these other people in our little fireside chat that we're probably going to have. Okay. And then he mentioned last November. So he mentioned November. So I wonder about Thanksgiving and timing and all that, or is it 5 years from now? I mean, who knows, really? Um, I keep saying, I'm sorry. Oh, gosh. So we mentioned cottage, and it was whitewashed. And that's an important word because that came up in the Zapruder film, not the Zapruder film, but it's a CIA agent, supposedly. I say supposedly for everything lately because it's not really what happened. But he, um, he used the word whitewashed when he was talking about how he was the one that went in the back room and bought the film from Zapruder. So that's a well-known video. It's not very long, so search for that one. Anyway, whitewashed was a key word to me because of all that. And that equals 125, which is John Kennedy. So, and then he's talking about a cow named Constance. And Constance is 94, and that's John, and a hidden lord. So, I mean, the important part is John, but he is a hidden lord. Um, and then he said there was a car that was a runabout, because this was written in the mid 20s, I think. It was a runabout, and that equals 112, meaning the whole meaning is part of the match, meaning I am God. So I didn't want to confuse you. um, okay, so he said he had to go 3 miles to a station. If you want a cocktail on Sunday morning, you have to walk 3 miles. And then he mentioned it again. So he has a 3 in there. And he said, when you get there, you have to show the man how to mix it. And it tastes like death. What have we been talking about at the cross with a potion or something that they all took, whoever it was, they all took, whoever you believe it was. And it was a poison that didn't kill them. It made them go to sleep and slowed their heartbeat down, just like what I thought. And he pretty much verified it in this story. It was awesome. I was so excited. Let's see, what else can I tell you? Can you tell I'm excited? I am so excited. So he mentions a cocktail, but he's talking about cocktail of bad stuff. And then he says, then you walk all the way home after you tell him how to make the cocktail that tastes like death. Then you walk all the way home because you're not at the cross, right? Think about that. Because you're not dead. Then you walk all the way home again, right? And then he said, in case anything unforeseen should happen, a young youth would blow along, like a young youth, like John, that the brother would come along. And let's see, if the okay, I won't say that part. Oh, it's so confusing. There's pages and pages. He said, I was carefully instructed, and I'm thinking, by God, to shut up the chickens. And that's the fraidy cats at the cross to me. To shut up, he was talking about putting the chickens in the coop and, rounding them up. And the chickens, because they didn't want to go through with what God was going to punish them with for our sins and all that. So anyway, let's see. Oh, and there's a dog named Jock, not Jack, but Jock. And Jock equals 39, and that equals Jackie, I'm back, and Lego. And it was so funny. I saw that right after Jackie and I'm back. And the toy Legos that, the kids build stuff with, you know what Legos are. And it sounded like, okay, Lego. Did Lego's name get put on because it goes along with Jackie and Lego the kid? I don't know. And he said I didn't wake up. And he talked about a big storm, like rain, big, heavy storm. At 8:17, 8 for infinity and God, 17. I didn't wake up till 10 past 7. So then you got another 17. So you have two 17s. And then at 8:30, he said beastly stuff it was. So beastly stuff. And he talked about the people. He was staying at their home while they were out going to the dentist, which was far, far, far away, because this was a long time ago and it was a long ways away. They probably would run for shelter tonight because of the storm. And then at 8:46, which I think is not, I think it's Virgin Mary is 46. So I scavenged. No, I foraged, he said. Scavenged, like for, the little ones in the Garden of Eden. Virgin Mary, oh yeah, and Mother Mary matches 46, which I haven't been including in a lot of things. I keep thinking, oh, it's just for POTUS 46, which is JFK right now. And then he said cold 3 times, and that equals Q. I said it 2 times. 2 of the letters. Like 2 times. Let's see. So Jock had it, at 44. Yeah. He tried to make Welsh rarebit. And that's like a cheese saucy stuff that you put on toast, if you don't know. And he said it wasn't working out making it and everything. So he said the dog had it. So Jock had it. It bothered him a bit too. So that is interesting. Think about what we just talked about. And then he said, I thought of sardines on toast. So I put 3 on it. I put it over the fire. 1 rolled off. Then there were 2. So we have a 23, a 2 and a 3. So, sorry, my nose is itchy. So we have a 23 for W, which is Junior. Juan used to call us W, Let's see. Said it was 9 o'clock. I fell asleep at 10:23 at half past. That was the timestamp. At 9:30, a funny sort of noise woke me up. And at 10:30, so it was on the 5s. That's the way I look at comms. If it's on like 10:20 or something like that, or 10:30 or 10:25, scraping it with a stick. It sounded like that on the door. I didn't take much notice at first. You know what it is when you're half asleep. Half asleep again, about sleepiness. Oh my goodness. 10:46, Jock started making a fuss. Like, you can think of it as Jackie, right? Jock and Jackie. 11:05, it was a panting noise. An escaped convict. Like they're guilty and they're going to be punished and justice will happen. And then we won't be under the curse anymore. Anyway, Eve, Mary, all those people guilty of murder. So, and filling up the door and then at 11:35, so we saw on the door, filling up the door was an enormous great beast with 2 staring eyes and a pair of horns. A pair of horns. That's probably describing the beast from the ocean that's going to get them. I don't know why I'm so happy. Don't take everything I say seriously. I'm not really happy. I'm excited. And he said it was only Constance the cow. And what did I have the coding for it on the next page. It was only Constance the cow and stood there dripping wet. Now, who was standing there dripping wet? Well, a cow equals USA and king and joke. So that's cow. That's 41. Constance is 94. And that equals John John. So Constance is John John, standing there dripping wet. So is he dripping wet because he was one of the ones punished? I think he is. And or was he was going to try to save Diana, Mary Eve, all that? Jackie, who knows? One of these days maybe I'll figure it out like well. So it's and another funny thing. I mean, this is off a little bit, but John is 94. Well, polka dot is 94, and that equals not equals it. There was a woman in a polka dot dress that was famously searched for high and low, supposedly, after John's brother Bobby. Yeah, his brother Bobby. Robert F. Kennedy, Robert Francis Kennedy. He was the Attorney General, and he was running for president in 1968. In case you didn't know, and there was a famous, not story, but whatever, about looking for the woman in the polka dot dress, and I think there's even a book called that, The Woman in the Polka Dot Dress. Well, that matches John. So he signed it. He signed. So Bobby, I mean, I've known this for a while, or figured it out for a while, that Bobby, all these things where people look like they're gone, it was all staged. So Bobby's around, in case you haven't heard me before. And so that's cool, in case you're a Bobby fan. A lot of people wanted him to win. I mean, he was such a wonderful person. Is such a wonderful. Hi, Bobby. I haven't said hi to him yet. Love you. And Enormous Great Beast is 218. And that equals Where We Go One, We Go All. Okay. And John F. Kennedy, spelled out, Jr., Junior. So his full name, spelled out, equals Enormous Great Beast. So this is why you have to listen to bite-sized audio classics. And you have to listen to Sherlock Holmes audiobooks on Magpie Radio. And the reason I found out about him is because Greg Wagland from the audiobooks, he's mentioned him at least twice. So in his YouTube comments and all that, in his little postings for YouTube, he's mentioned Bite-Sized Audio Classics and Simon. He's mentioned them both. Well, Simon does Bite-Sized. So he's mentioned them. So then I started listening to that. I'm thinking, well, it's important if he's mentioned it. And then I realized, like yesterday or the day before, that who it was. It's the same person. It's the same person. Or it's John and John taking turns being the same person. I don't know. But it's definitely something you should listen to, because you'll learn all kinds of cool things. I'm sure way beyond what I've figured out. I mean, I don't decode everything, obviously. There's so much more to learn. Okay, so besides John F. Kennedy Jr., spelled out, matching Enormous Great Beast, which is what will happen. They'll meet the beast. Most Beautiful Eyes matches. And I was just reading, when I was reading more about Melania the other day, that, well, I knew she had blue eyes, but she had a cryptocurrency, like a coin, come out. I think it was named Solana. There might have been an R in there. I can't remember. Solana or Solarna. It's S-O-L. I think it's O-N-A. I might be wrong. But if you look up Melania and Solana, I bet you'll find out what it's really called. So she had a coin come out, and I think it was only available for 3 weeks in a December, maybe a couple of Decembers ago. And the coin only shows her blue eyes. So I think that's important. And I think it's important that I just read that again, and that it was on the coin, and that I keep saying that Diana is Melania with her blue eyes. So I bet I don't know how to do this, but I bet if somebody took like a screenshot or a superimposed, I don't know how to do that. Like say superimpose Diana's eyes over Melania's eyes, and I bet you'll find out they're the same. I hope somebody can do that, and if they do, let me know. Yeah, and Enormous Great Beast, 218, also is Painful Punishment, and it also equals my cousin is Lady Diana. Lady Diana. So I don't believe the my cousin part, but Lady Diana is an important part. Oh, then he was talking about getting the cow out because the cow had burst in when he heard the noise. You know, the cow had escaped the garage barn, I think he calls it. And he's trying to get the cow back, Constance the cow back in. And he said, then I took her by the horns and I tried to wheel her. And that was at 12:30, which was on the fives again, like a bicycle. So think of a bicycle wheel with spokes. So he's trying to turn the horns. And then he said she backed right across the room, like back in time. And I can't remember where I heard it now. I'll think of it probably before the end of the video. But yeah, the wheel. Oh, I know. It was on Nicholas Veniamin's video a little bit ago on his channel. I mean, and he had a man named Ismail, Ismael. Oh, isn't that funny? Ismail. I don't remember the last name, but Janine recommended watching him, and boy, I recommend it too. I put that on Telegram. So if you can't find it, it's posted on my Telegram on Real Mrs. Handy Are You. And I also have Mrs. Handy Are You Chit Chat, so it'll be on one of them. Yeah, he talked about time as being a wheel and that you can turn the wheel. And that's, I think, why President Trump talks about wheels and walls quite a bit. So, yeah, he said it's like a wheel. It's not like a straight line. So he turned it like a bicycle wheel. And he said, and the funny line was at 13, "Daren't pull too hard in case the tail came right out." I didn't decode that, but I'm sure there's something good there. She went sideways all right. She went round and round the room, like the bicycle wheel. Jock had her out in 2-2s. That's exactly what he said. Jock had her out in 2-2s. So it's like twins and things like that. Or 22 for, 11:22. And he said, down the garden path. Had the cow go down the garden path, like Garden of Eden. And let's see, it was one of those beastly paths with stones the size of potatoes. And to me, that sounds like Jerusalem, because every time you see things happening in Jerusalem or tours of where Jesus walked and things, it's like cobblestony. I guess you call it cobblestones with the little stones, right? And okay, it was dark as pitch, and that's like the eclipse. Okay, Connie went in of her own accord. So like Eve, Mary, all that will go in on their own. They won't be like dragged in to see the beast. That's the way I'm thinking, because it was at 14:17. When she was safely in, called to Jock to come out, but he wouldn't come. Now that makes me think of, okay, is that Junior? Like, I go back and forth. Is Junior going to have to meet the beast? Is he not? I don't know. But if Junior was soaking wet, like Constance equals John, came in the door the way I just read it, with Constance the cow coming in and soaking wet. So it sounds like he gets soaking wet. So is he soaking wet because he went in to save her? Or is he there to kill the beast? I bet he will kill the beast with his arrows and stuff. Huh, yeah, I bet that will happen. He'll probably kill it. Okay. I'll skip that part. And then at 1453, see that the dog Jock, which means Jackie in Gematria, found something and was all excited about it. And at 1453, 53 is a reverse 35 for POTUS 35. The first thing I found was a shoe with a girl's foot in it. You can't get more double meaning than this. And then at 15 minutes even, struck a match, only lasted a while. The head was flaring. Like, they went after the head? I don't know. But he's talking about the head of the match, you know, the little part. That's all it didn't last long. It just showed me a woman's face, all over blood. That's the way he said it too. All over blood. All over blood. At 1507, he said, I said, because he's recounting the story, I said, oh Lord, because he's writing a book. And this is supposedly from a book. At 1515, wasn't the faintest sign of a pulse. It appeared she was quite dead. It appeared. You know, wasn't really dead. This person wasn't really dead, and neither was Jackie, Eve, Diana, whoever you want to include in this Eve Mary scenario. Things were looking rather bleak. I mean, he said it like it wasn't even a big deal. I managed to carry her out at 1358. She was quite young, not more than 25, dressed in a long blue coat. Now, who wore a long blue coat at the inauguration? Melania, who I think is Diana. And that was at 60s. Long blue coat actually was at 1603. So there's another 63 there. Not reversed. And then you describe what she was wearing. I didn't decode everything. He looked for the wound at 1630. There didn't appear to be one. It wasn't, at 1635, it wasn't blood at all. Now there's a double meaning, triple meaning in here. So there was no blood on this person, obviously, in the story. There's no blood with Jackie and whoever at the cross, Jesus. There was no blood. Because, I mean, they didn't die. I guess that's the point. They didn't die. And let's see. Oh, and the other thing about the fake blood. Oh, the fake blood. I've talked about this before, but it's been a while. There's a video from a doctor who was at Parkland Hospital in Texas that he's got it's the end of a video. It's the right video is Dr. Oh, let me get it right. McCullum with an M on the end, interviewed, JFK's last doctor interviewed at the library in Dallas, and the right thumbnail, the right picture on the video is, let's see, it's JFK walking down the ramp of Air Force One, and it's in color. It's one of the few things you see of him in color, and he's waving and smiling. So that's the right video with Dr. McCullum, because Dr. McCullum has been interviewed many, many, many times. And he, at the end of that video, you'll find out that he's got a clear package of, I don't remember what it's made out of, but inside of it is the outfit or the jacket or top that he wore that was covered with JFK's blood. And I've decoded this for a while and figured this out for a while now, that that's going to be fake blood. And it, or, well, maybe not fake blood, at least not his blood. It won't be JFK's blood. Maybe they'll have to do a DNA test. I don't know. But anyway, it won't be his blood. So here it is. Wasn't 1635 for JFK, POTUS 35, wasn't blood at all. So it's got many meanings. And at 1644, couldn't have been wetter if she had been fished out of a pond. So she was soaking wet, this young woman that he found. The dye from her hat, which was bright red, and red is 27, JFK, ran down her face. And at 17 minutes, felt her pulse again. 1707, it talks about it again. So faint, couldn't be sure. And no audible breathing. So he checked it again. So we have a 7 and a 7. We have Christ there, 77, and in 17. No audible breathing. And I poured a few drops into the corner of her mouth of brandy. And at 1735, I increased the dose, repeated it at intervals. She didn't seem to swallow, but the brandy seemed to get away somehow. The way he worded it seemed to get away somehow, like they got away at the cross. They got away. Seemed like hours. And the pulse began to tick. Faint breathing. She was cold. So she really seemed like she was dead. If somebody just did a quick check of her, she would have looked dead in this story. That's the same as at the cross. I know I'm beating a dead horse, but I'm sorry. 19 minutes exactly, beginning to look less dead. If I had invented this, wait, I can't even read my writing. Well, anyway, I would have made her out to be, if I had invented this yarn, couldn't read the Y. If I had invented this yarn, I would have made her out to be a ravishingly beautiful, like young woman, like Jackie and Diana. And then at 2020, so seeing 2020, I must confess, she wasn't, basically. She wasn't. She was more of an average person. And then at 2103, she woke up. 2135, she started talking. And then brown stuff, he took brown stuff out of a bottle. I can't remember what he called it. I think it was beef, like beef broth is what I was thinking when he was describing it. But brown stuff out of a bottle sounds like at the cross, you have the bottle and you've got the stuff. Maybe that's what they gave him that tasted sour. Who knows? I don't know. Or maybe another thief was put in his place. Like, I don't know. So she woke up, she started talking, and then he gave her brown stuff out of a bottle. I didn't decode all this, but you guys can do it, please. Please put it in the comments. It'd be great. I just have too much to decode. My hand starts hurting, you know? So 2222, I said brown stuff out of a bottle. She called him Wally several times. I didn't do that. Mentioned curly props. And I said that right, curly props. And so that's interesting. I didn't do it. And at 2411, this young woman was an actress. She said, yes, mum, no, mum, like they do in England. Mum, M-U-M. So this young woman was an actress. She's acting. She's acting as Melania. That's what I'm thinking. Let's see. She was to go to sleep like a good girl. And I just read yesterday on Savinian.com. I keep bringing up Savinian. Savinian. I don't know how to say it. It's French. Savinian. I guess Civilian. He has a good girl book available to buy. So besides his magazines, he's got I think it's a book for kids, and it's about the good girl haircut. Now, I haven't bought it, but and then there's a good girl Discord, and I started to sign up for it, and then I kind of bailed halfway through because something wasn't working. But anyway, it's savinian.com, and you look at I can't remember what it is, but in the top right corner, there's 3 bars. Just hit that, and you can see all the things that are going on, what you can do. You can just read things. You can read excerpts of the magazine and all that. I would definitely get the magazine. I would, and you can get some back issues too. So it's savinian.com, and it's got 7 in it, right? 107. So that's who he's the editor of that magazine. Okay. Oh, Good Girl. Good Girl is 87, and it's Hail Mary, Junior, Justice, Sleeping, The Voice. I mean, I know there's a show called The Voice and Simon Cowell and all that stuff. Now we have The Voice, and Simon Stanhope is doing this thing that I'm talking about, this bite-sized audio. And then he said, seems to be a familiar ring about that name. I don't know. All things considered, she woke. She wasn't quite normal. He said all things considered a couple of times. So I let her tell her story in her own way. And she was touring with a group of actors, a group. She's not the only one. There's a bunch of them that are acting and acting as other people. Let's see. It got dark, rain and wind. Her last meal had been breakfast. Her last meal, key phrase, her last meal before she, goes to wherever HE double hockey sticks is, and then up to be healed, wherever that is, and then back again. Let's see. I wasn't at all sorry. She had gone back to stay with some other people. Was it relatives or what? And he wasn't at all sorry to see her go. We kept that girl here for 3 days. 3 days. Like in the tomb, right? When they thought everybody was gone, and then they rolled the rock, there was nobody there because they didn't die. Oh my gosh, this is so unreal. She knew me all right, but she cut me dead. And that was 3135. In other words, she didn't write back and say, thank you so much for saving me from dying, because she probably could have. She was freezing cold. And she didn't take a poison, but she was freezing cold, and she had been walking and walking, and she ended up in the barn where Constance was, and that's kind of how all this happened. So he did save her in this story, and it ended at 3240, and you can look at that as Eve, and you can look at that as W. Juana Savin's alter ego identity. So anyway, I was going to do a lot more, but boy, that just took a lot of effort, I don't know what it is with these things. I get way wound up, and I don't know. And Greg Wagland. Okay, this is a little brief bit with Greg Wagland. You remember Conan the dog? And I think he got the Medal of Honor from President Trump for getting one of the terrorists in Afghanistan, supposedly. Soleimani, maybe? I think it was. He found him in a cave. Conan the dog is a German shepherd. Well, Greg Wagland, right? Wagtail. He reads the stories by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. Conan the dog. And 107 is 126, and that is also Basil Rathbone, Rathbone, who played Sherlock Holmes in the 40s, probably even before in the late 30s. So he was the Sherlock Holmes in the movies. Basil Rathbone. We have Bone in there again. We have Greg Wagland, and we have Conan the dog, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. So it's not a coincidence, you guys. This is so this is so important. It really is. So you can enjoy it. Listen to the videos, audio. It's just audios. Listen to it. Try to relax, because I know a lot of stuff's going on, and just try to listen for double meanings and things. You'll learn so much. I mean, I get a little repetitive with my stuff, but you'll probably learn way beyond what I've been doing, because you'll probably take more time and listen better than what I do. So I hope you enjoy it. And anyway, I'm so wound up. Blah. Anyway, like I said, I'm on Telegram, Real Mrs. Handy. I'm on Mrs. Handy Chit Chat, where you can post things. And I hate to ask, but if you can donate, it would really help. And it would help with our medical bills, the vet bills, all this really outrageously high stuff that we have because of all the bad stuff that's been going on. And I don't care if it's 50 cents, whatever. I really don't. I don't judge people. 50 cents, a dollar, I don't care. It doesn't have to be. It could be 25 cents. I don't care. Because if everybody did that, it would be a lot. It would be great, and it would really help. So I have buy Me a Coffee, PayPal, Patreon, and I think there's another one, but I can't think of. Oh, Venmo. So I'm signed up for all this stuff. So, and if you do one of these things, please leave a comment so I'll really pay attention, because it means a lot to me. It really does, and I appreciate anything. So anyway, it's so hard to ask that, but I love you guys, and I hope you're having a good summer, like I said. Bye.